Tonight, breaking news, the smoke moving in, millions of Americans right now under dangerous air quality alerts. The temporary ground stop at Boston's Logan Airport. From the Great Lakes to the Northeast in New York City, the air quality alerts. Fast-moving wildfires in the U.S. and Canada creating a blanket of smoke in the skies over multiple states tonight. The ground stop for a time at Logan amid poor visibility. New York City and that new alert. Detroit warning people about the air quality there. Ginger Z is standing by for us. Also tonight, the alarming images just outside New York City. Passengers pounding on the doors of a train from the inside after fire breaks out under the train during rush hour. Passengers pleading with the conductor to open the door. Several people rushed to the hospital. Tonight, a pilot on a United flight out of Washington, D.C. issuing a mayday, an engine failing just after takeoff. And another scare tonight, this passenger jet and the bird strike, the damage to the front of the plane, the emergency landing that followed. Also, the small plane crash right off the East Coast. Witnesses seeing it go down in the Atlantic. The dramatic rescue effort that followed. Tonight, the showdown in Texas at this hour. Governor Greg Abbott now threatening to arrest Democratic lawmakers who fled the state to delay a high-stakes redistricting vote. Republicans trying to redraw the state's congressional map. Tonight, the urgent manhunt, police searching for the suspect accused of killing a family of 4 and then allegedly kidnapping and abandoning their baby. Overseas tonight, the haunting images of hostages held by Hamas appearing desperate and frail. The family of one hostage describing him as a living skeleton. Tonight, what Israel is now threatening to do, Ian Panel reporting. The breaking headline of this hour involving Sean Diddy Combs, what we have just learned. A scare on the water, a whale slamming into a boat off the Northeast. A woman thrown into the water. Tonight, there's news of a shark attack. Reports the pregnant wife of a former NBA player attacked by a shark. And this evening here, the tributes pouring in for Loni Anderson, the actress from WKRP in Cincinnati. We hear from I Dream of Jeannie star Barbara Eden, remembering her friend.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. It is great to start another week with all of you at home. We begin tonight with the air quality alerts for millions of Americans at this hour. Smoke from raging wildfires in Canada, now spreading down right over the U.S., across the Midwest and the Northeast. In Boston, a ground stop at Logan Airport for a time. In New York City tonight, an air quality alert now issued. Also, the warnings about the air in Detroit. And it's not just Canada. 39 major wildfires are now burning in 13 states in the West. Tonight, there are real concerns over the air quality in all those highlighted areas, with the highest risk in the areas in red, from Las Vegas to Green Bay, Detroit to Buffalo, all in the red zone due to wildfire smoke. But this stretches all the way to New York City and Boston. More than 700 wildfires are burning in Canada, this one in British Columbia, closing down a major highway, forcing hundreds to evacuate. The skyline of Boston barely visible because of that haze, a ground stop at Logan Airport for a time. And in the west tonight, the Gifford fire burning more than 100 square miles north of Los Angeles, prompting evacuations, causing several injuries. Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z has the forecast, and she leads us off tonight.
Tonight, air quality alerts for millions from the Great Lakes to the Northeast as wildfires in the U.S. and Canada rage. New England skies covered in thick, hazy smoke. WCVB's chief meteorologist, Cindy Fitzgibbon.
And this is what it looks like in Worcester. This is what it looks like in Boston.
At Boston's Logan Airport, the FAA issuing a brief ground stop, blaming the smoke. Dozens of flights delayed. There are air quality alerts up from New York City and back through the Great Lakes. Meteorologist Mike Taylor from our Detroit affiliate WXYZ.
This puts you in the unhealthy criteria. Simply put, that means that it's just bad air for everybody.
The air quality rating in the Detroit area among the worst in the world today. The culprit? Smoke from more than 700 wildfires in Canada. Meanwhile, in California, hot, dry conditions fueling multiple major wildfires. The Gifford fire north of Santa Barbara, which nearly tripled in size Saturday, now burning more than 100 square miles and still out of control. At least 3 people injured, one suffering serious burns.
Yeah, extraordinary pictures from across the U.S. and Canada tonight. Let's get right to Ginger. And Ginger, as you said, from the Midwest to the Great Lakes to the Finger Lakes, all the way to New York City and Boston, the impact from this is vast.
It is, and that's because Canada, David, has had more than 16 million acres burned. That's more than twice their average acreage to date. Now, behind me, the smoky skies are evident, and we have air quality in the unhealthy for sensitive groups category. Looking all the way down to Delaware, up to Maine, the air quality alerts back to Green Bay, Grand Rapids, Michigan, even Northwest Indiana. How long does this stick around? Well, for the midweek is where we have to kind of hold out for. Wednesday, by then, things are looking better, but we're going to see this push around some of that near surface smoke, which is tough for people with asthma, certainly for the young or elderly. And we've got another area we're watching today. Flash flood alerts from Atlanta back down to Apalachicola, Florida. 2-inch per hour rainfall rates through tomorrow are possible. And it is that time of year, climatologically, it's when we heat up in the Atlantic. And we sure have 3 areas that we're watching right now. No impacts to land, just some rip current threats for South and North Carolina, David.
But we know you'll continue to track it for us. Ginger, we'll see you first thing in the morning on GMA. Thank you. In the meantime, to the harrowing commute on a train bound for New York City, a fire breaking out under a PATH train during rush hour. Passengers pounding on the doors from the inside, trying to get out of the train. Passengers on that train, as it was filling up with smoke, you can see the pictures here, pleading with the conductor to open the doors. Several people were rushed to the hospital, and here's Stephanie Ramos tonight.
Panic and chaos as smoke filled this commuter PATH train headed for Manhattan at the start of the morning rush.
Easy, guys.
A fire on board sending flames shooting out from under the train as commuters inside begged the conductor to open the door so they could escape. First responders swarming the station in Jersey City, New Jersey, where they treated 13 people for smoke inhalation, 9 of them taken to the hospital. The fire stranding commuters.
There are no trains out of Hoboken right now, so we are trying to make it to a ferry.
Service suspended for nearly 5 hours on PATH trains, which run nearly 200,000 trips in and out of New York City every day. David, at this point, there are no reports of any major injuries. The NTSB is investigating the cause of that fire. David.
Stephanie Ramos with us here. Steph, thanks as always. Tonight, a pilot on a United flight out of Washington, D.C. issuing a mayday, an engine failing just after takeoff, and the emergency landing that followed. And the other scare tonight, a passenger jet and the bird strike. Passengers putting on oxygen masks, bracing for impact. After they landed, you could see the damage to the plane. Gio Benitez covers aviation.
Tonight, we're learning about a midair emergency on board a United passenger jet from Washington, D.C. to Germany with 230 people on board. Shortly after takeoff from Dulles, the pilot reporting an engine failure, repeatedly declaring mayday.
Failure, engine failure, left engine, United 108, declaring emergency, mayday, mayday, mayday. United 108, heavy, roger that, sir.
The plane, flying at nearly 5,000 feet at the time, forced to head back to Dulles on July 25th. In a statement, United pointing to a mechanical issue, saying the plane landed safely. It comes as this Iberia jet lost nearly half of its nose, colliding with a large bird after takeoff in Madrid overnight. This video on X showing the jet being towed away, its engine damaged. Passenger Jon Karl Sandoval filming the terrifying scene, people wearing oxygen masks as the cabin fills with smoke. Passengers applauding as that plane landed back in Madrid. Iberia saying tonight they continued to Paris on a new flight. And David, back at Dulles, United says that flight to Germany was canceled and travelers got on other flights. The FAA is investigating. David.
Gio, thank you. One more aviation note tonight. Witnesses watching as a small plane crashed right off the East Coast and into the Atlantic. It happened off the coast of North Carolina. Witnesses horrified, and then the dramatic rescue that followed. Here's Mola Lengi tonight.
Tonight, the exact moment a plane crashes.
Oh my God!
Off the North Carolina coast, caught on video, striking the water and flipping over. The single-engine plane going down near Oak Island Saturday evening. Water rescue teams already in the area after responding to another call nearby, seen rushing to the crash site, approaching the submerged plane by boat, jet ski, and even surfboard. The pilot speaking to ABC affiliate WWAY.
At a certain point, the engine just completely stopped, the propeller stopped. And at that point, I knew that I was going to have to land in the water.
Officials say he was safely removed from the wreckage and treated on shore for non-life-threatening injuries. The plane later towed from the water.
Well, officials say the pilot was the only person on board. Tonight, the FAA
is investigating the incident, David.
Mola Lenghi with us. Mola, thanks. Now to the showdown in Texas at this hour. Governor Greg Abbott now threatening to arrest Democratic lawmakers who fled the state to delay a high-stakes redistricting vote. Republicans trying to redraw that state's congressional map that could give them 5 more seats in the House in Washington. And tonight, word coming in from New York and California's governors. Will they follow suit? Here's Jon Karl.
Tonight, the governor of Texas is threatening to arrest any Democratic lawmaker who has left the state, as dozens have, to avoid voting on new congressional maps designed to favor Republicans. I ordered the Texas Department of Safety to locate, arrest, and return to the House chamber any member who has abandoned their duty to Texans. Governor Abbott declared in a statement, this order will remain in effect until all missing Democrat House members are accounted for and brought to the Texas Capitol. Until at least some of the Texas Democrats return to the state, there won't be a quorum in the State House, and a vote on the new congressional districts can't go forward.
Members, a quorum is not present.
Republicans voted to issue civil arrest warrants to bring the Democrats back to the Capitol, but those warrants have no power outside of the state of Texas. More than 50 of the Democratic lawmakers have left, some to Illinois, others to New York and Massachusetts.
We just arrived here in Chicago.
I made it safely to Chicago.
We are breaking quorum.
My Democratic colleagues and I have just left our beloved state to break quorum and stop Trump's redistricting power grab.
Republicans are seeking to redraw the state's congressional districts in a way that could help Republicans win 5 extra House seats in next year's midterm elections. The move was demanded by President Trump, who is eager to preserve the narrow Republican majority in Congress.
On Texas, how many more seats do you want the Republicans to draw?
5.
Are you calling in for a complete redrawing of the congressional map?
No, it's just a very simple redrawing. We pick up 5 seats.
Although Democrats have also skewed congressional district maps to favor their party in states they control, redistricting usually only happens after a new once-a-decade census. Now the Democratic governors of California and New York are threatening to change their congressional districts to retaliate against Texas.
And we're going to fight fire with fire.
Then they're leaving us no choice. We must do the same.
Texas Democrats will have to come home eventually. In the meantime, this could become quite costly. Each one of them faces a $500 fine for every day that they are out of the state. Meanwhile, this just in from the governor of Texas. He has ordered the Texas Rangers to initiate an investigation into whether any of those Democrats either accepted or solicited funds to pay for their travels outside of the state, something he says would be a violation of Texas bribery laws. David?
Jon Karl with the breaking headline. And John, as you point out, this is usually tied to the census, which is why so many people are watching this across the country. Thanks, John. To the urgent manhunt tonight for the man who police say killed a family of 4 and then allegedly kidnapped and then abandoned the baby in Tennessee. Here's Trevor Ault.
Tonight, the intensifying search for the suspect accused in the gruesome killing of a Tennessee family of 4, allegedly kidnapping and then abandoning their infant last week. Authorities believe Austin Drummond knew the family and is still in the area, charging 4 other people in connection with the crime, 3 of them believed to have helped him get away. A $17,000 reward now being offered for tips that lead to an arrest. And in Montana, in a separate case, hundreds of officers searching for Michael Brown, who authorities say shot and killed 4 people Friday at his neighborhood bar.
By all indications, this is an unstable individual who walked in and murdered 4 people in cold blood for no reason whatsoever.
Authorities say Brown was a regular at the Owl Bar and likely knew all 4 victims. Officials releasing this image saying he'd shed most of his clothes and fled the scene.
We have a visual of someone on Ash Street.
He allegedly stole a vehicle with camping gear and may now be hiding in the mountains.
We are acting under the assumption that he is alive, well armed, and extremely dangerous.
And David, authorities say the alleged Montana gunman is an Army veteran with a known history of mental health and drug problems. David?
Trevor Ault reporting. Trevor, thank you. Overseas tonight, the haunting images of the hostages still being held by Hamas appearing desperate and frail. The family of one hostage tonight describing him as a living skeleton. Tonight, what Israel is now threatening to do to get the hostages out. Here's Ian Pannell.
Tonight, the haunting images shocking Israel, prompting international outcry. Emaciated hostages in Gaza on the brink of starvation. The propaganda videos coming after weeks of terrible images of children in Gaza dying of malnutrition. Now, sources telling ABC News Prime Minister Netanyahu threatening to expand the military operation to occupy all of Gaza and get the hostages home. 24-year-old Evyatar David seen in that disturbing video. His family saying he's become a living skeleton buried alive in a Hamas tunnel. We spoke with his brother, Ilya.
What impact has the release of the video had on the family?
It really crushed us. We were in a roller coaster, emotional storm, because it was a sign of life.
And hostage Ron Bruslavsky, seen here saying, "I'm at death's door," in a chilling video released by Islamic Jihad. Both families agreeing for the media to show these horrific images. Ilya David critical of Hamas for using the hostages and its own people as bargaining chips.
They used my brother, they used the other hostages, they used the people of Gaza as pawns in their sick game. So first, this starvation must stop, but it will only happen if Hamas will allow it to stop.
David, it's unclear if Netanyahu's threat to occupy all of Gaza is actually a negotiating ploy to force Hamas to disarm and release all the hostages, as Israel and the U.S. wants. David?
Ian Pano live in Tel Aviv for us. Ian, thank you. Back here in the U.S. and in New York City tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been denied bail. He will remain in jail until his sentencing October 3rd. Combs was convicted on 2 counts of transporting individuals for prostitution and not guilty of more serious charges. His lawyers had argued others convicted of similar crimes had been granted bail. The judge denying the request. When we come back on this Monday night, this evening, there is news of a shark attack involving the pregnant wife of a former NBA player bitten by a shark. We'll have more in a moment. The other terrifying moments in the water, a whale slamming into a boat off the Northeast, a woman thrown into the water right there. And then the tributes pouring in tonight for Loni Anderson, the actress from WKRP in Cincinnati. Tonight, I Dream of Jeannie star Barbara Eden and what she's saying about Loni Anderson in a moment. Tonight, we're learning the pregnant wife of former New York Knicks star Danilo Gallinari was attacked by a shark while on vacation in Puerto Rico. His wife, sports journalist Eleonora Boy, was bitten on the leg near San Juan, waiting in the water along a crowded beach there. Tonight, she says she and the baby are fine. A scare for boaters off the Jersey Shore. A video showing the woman being thrown overboard, a minke whale repeatedly slamming into the boat with several people on board. The boater was not hurt. The whale did not survive this. When we come back here tonight, remembering Loni Anderson from WKRP in Cincinnati. Tonight, I Dream of Jeannie star Barbara Eden paying tribute. To the next tonight, the tributes for actress Loni Anderson, who died after a long illness. Best known, of course, for her role in WKRP in Cincinnati, married to Burt Reynolds for 5 years. Tonight, I Dream of Jeannie star Barbara Eden paying tribute to her, quote, dear friend, calling her a real talent with razor-smart wit and a glowing sense of humor. A darling lady and a genuinely good person. Loni Anderson was 79. When we come back here tonight, every parent, every grandparent waits for this moment, but they don't expect it to happen in front of thousands. You'll see it in a moment. Finally tonight here, America Strong, one step at a time. Tonight here, the incredible moves on the WNBA basketball court, but this time we're not talking about the players. The big game in Las Vegas, the Aces against the Lynx, the sold-out crowd, and during halftime, some of the youngest fans right there on the court. Invited by the Aces for the 3rd annual Diaper Derby, they call it. All the dads with their babies lined up. Moms on the other side holding their babies' favorite toys to try to coax them to crawl across the court to get to them. Then they were off. And watch the 3rd baby from the right in the white shirt, pink headband with the bow, little Ada, who just turned 1 off to an early lead. Dad Paul and the red Las Vegas Aces hat and jersey right behind her, pointing toward Mom. Halfway across the court and with a sizable lead, Ada stopping to grab her stuffed animal, hugging it. Watch this. Slowly, she carefully stands up. The crowd goes wild, and Ada wasn't done. Remarkably, she starts walking. Her first steps right there in front of Mom and Dad, and in front of the crowd of more than 10,000. Making her way to proud Mom Louisa with a big hug. Ada winning the crawl by walking. After the race, Dad carrying Ada and her trophy.
She was standing, she hadn't been walking. She just randomly decided to stand up in the middle of the thing.
Tonight, Dad Paul overjoyed, telling us she did one step at home. She's been practicing, but then she just kept going, and that was wild for us. We were not expecting her to take off like that. Tonight, Ada and her incredible first steps right in front of the sold-out crowd, cheering her on. How can you beat that? Hopefully, Ada walked right over to the TV tonight to check herself out. I'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Good night.
David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. And now, ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the third year in a row.